If there's a Hatebreed song you love, chances are Wayne is setting it off with killer riffs, power chords, and making it look easy when it's anything but. Wayne and I are both metalheads who went hardcore. Wayne, what are you looking most forward to about the This Is Hardcore Fest?
This is hardcore is going to be like old school, straight hardcore, pits, insane, and just to get back to like kind of the old style show that we've been playing for years. But also, I'm looking forward to seeing Furia 5 because I haven't seen them since the 90s and they're making a comeback. So I'm kind of excited about that one. That should be cool.
Absolutely. And stage dives. Lots of stage dives.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Well, Hatebreed gave us the biggest gift during the pandemic, Weight of the False Self. It was such a gift when we all really needed it. What did it mean to you guys giving the world like this music?
It was actually recorded. It was actually recorded before the pandemic, so we were scheduled to release it. You know, we were still well, scheduled to tour at the end of March and then release it in like May, but then everything got canceled during the pandemic. So we would have liked to have toured on the album because that's normally how things work. You make an album, you go tour on it, people listen to it, they hear the songs, they buy it, whatever. But I guess it's better to at least give people something at home to listen to while there was nothing else going on. So I think the album is great. I think it came out really well. Of course, you know, we're always recording with Zeus is always magic. He makes me sound really good. So shout out to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, did it feel kind of eerie to you a little bit about how much some of the songs really related to like what we were all feeling during that time?
Yeah, that was all coincidence, but somehow it's just, you know, Jamie must be psychic or something, and he came up with those lyrics before it even happened. But yeah, it's a little weird because people assume we wrote it during the pandemic for some of the songs.
But no, it was just
It's
psychic.
just came out that way.
Yeah. Well, what I'm looking forward to most, I love the early Hatebreed hardcore albums, Under the Knife and Satisfaction is the Death of Desire. Are you guys going to be playing even more early hardcore for us, like people who love the early?
I believe there's going to be a lot of old songs on there. You won't be disappointed if you're going to see some old hardcore Hatebreed stuff. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, everyone knows I'm a Texas girl obsessed with the Northeast. I just like had a real realization about that the other day. I was like, I think I'm just like really obsessed with the Northeast. It was like a totally like, oh, I think that's why kind of thing for me like a few days ago. But I love a good Connecticut scene story. At what age did you start going to shows and what was the scene like for you growing up? What bands, what venues?
Well, let's see. If we want to go way back to the, you know, big concerts, my first metal concert was Kiss back when I was like 10 years old. So that's when it, you know, started everything. I saw a bunch of metal, mostly metal in the 80s. It wasn't really till the early 90s. That's when I started really going to hardcore shows and getting into hardcore and punk. And I saw, you know, Murphy's Law, Burn, and Sub-Zero in 1990. That was actually my first real hardcore show I went to at this place called the Anthrax in Norwalk, Connecticut, which it was the last show that they had there. So it was like, oh, this is great. And then they closed down. So then there were other venues, but that was the beginnings of it. And then it was kind of, you know, then I just got fully immersed in it like probably a few years later.
Awesome. Well, that I have a similar story. You know, it was back in 2019 when I was at a Hatebreed show and I was seeing some hardcore bands. I really got exposed to hardcore, and that was just really how, you know, just seeing Agnostic Front, you know, just
Oh, yeah.
about like
Legends.
yeah, just so long ago, 3 years ago was when I was really I liked this
All right, you got to start somewhere.
yeah, it was really funny. I had just watched Godfathers of Hardcore, so it was like,
Oh, yeah.
I love
That was
that.
good.
And I had no idea that Agnostic Front was going to be playing with you guys. And I just showed up to the show in Dallas, walked in, and I was like, hey, that's Stigma. Like, hey.
Yeah, he's a character all on his own. He should have his own show.
I know it was kind of funny. One of the Agnostic Mike, right? Bass player.
Yep, Mike Gallo. Yep.
Yeah, Mike Gallo. Yeah, he like grabbed me and I was hanging out talking to him, and I was just kind of like at him, like talking to Stigma, and Stigma was like, "What the fuck is up with this chick?" And Mike like, you never met someone like you. I was like, "No, I haven't. I haven't at all. It's great. I like it."
Yes, they're all great guys. We've done many shows with them, many tours, many shows, and they've always been great since way back in the day.
Absolutely, and it's like the ethics of hardcore. And I've always really been into bands based on who they are as people. Like, I don't really care about your music. If you're an asshole, I don't care about you.
Yeah, I can get that way sometimes too. It's rough out there. Some people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's like something I really started to care about, like in metal, getting to know bands, like getting to know musicians. Like, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. I don't like you. And I think that's something really even more into hardcore. It's really about like,
I'll agree. I could agree with that. Yep.
yeah. And if your character isn't there, you'll be found out real quick. And I don't think you'll be welcomed for very much.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's something I really like about hardcore. What's the craziest hardcore show that you've ever been to?
Oh man, I can't really name one specific, but there's back in the '90s. There was just for some reason a lot of fights because most of the people at the shows knew each other because you go every weekend. It's your friends. It's all everyone knows each other. Half the people are in a band in the crowd, and then all it takes is like some outsider that thinks he's gonna start with the wrong person, and then the whole place erupts. And there's been many of those that I can't put that one specific down, but that was thankfully it's not as bad anymore. But back in the '90s, it was kind of rough.
I bet.
So we try not to we don't encourage that stuff anymore. We're all older. We just want to have a good time, listen to music, have fun. You're in the pit. Someone falls down, you pick them up. Everyone keeps going and dancing and having a good time.
Yeah. Well, it's very funny. Like, I enjoy being up front and center. And I started doing it a little bit when I first got to know y'all. And as a band, I'd be like, oh, I want to be cute up front and center. And this was probably like 010, maybe 012, 014, something like that. And wow, like I got rocked.
Yeah,
Like,
it's rough up there. It's definitely it's a good energy let out, if you will. But it's not really. You don't want to be standing around trying to look cute. Probably it's not the best place. You can, but you might get kicked in the head a couple times. And if you don't mind that sort of thing, then hey, go for it.
yeah, there you go. Oh well,
We like seeing all kinds of people up front, so
yeah,
as long as you can take it.
I've been lucky so far, like going to hardcore shows. Like, usually there's a corner I can like lay my body against and still kind of be in the mix and be in the corner and like not get dragged in. So
Well, that's good. You got to find your space.
positive, right? Yeah.
Always.
I went to Code Orange. Do you like Code Orange at all?
Oh yeah, yep. We've toured with them. That was a good tour.
Nice. Yeah, I love Code Orange. Love them. And that was like the last time I tried to be cute in a pit, and like big bruise. Big bruise.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just like the hardest female guitarist you've ever seen in your entire life.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm
great.
in the pit for. That's what I was in the pit for. And I loved meeting her. Her name's Reba. Like, she's so kind and so sweet and so nice. And she was very fun, and cute.
Yes.
And then
this is true.
would take a photo and our faces like this. And then, but to take a photo, she goes like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's a very friendly person though.
Yeah.
Like the photos of the band.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When did you guys tour with Code Orange?
It was only a few years ago. I don't remember the exact date. The pandemic like screwed all my time sense up, but it wasn't that long ago. It was a couple of years before the pandemic, maybe something like that. It was good. It was a good tour though.
How'd you spend
Definitely.
like, what did you get into?
Not much. Me and my friends got some beer and we watched YouTube videos in the house. That's how I spent the pandemic. Or flying back and forth to California.
Yeah.
That was it. During the pandemic, I probably actually flew during the pandemic. It was great because half the planes were empty, so you had your own row. It was quiet. It was great. But
There,
I didn't get into anything. I probably should have did something more, but everything was closed down. I just, wasn't really into it. We just finished the album. We were supposed to do this big tour with Parkway Drive, and everything got shut down. So I was just like, kind of just waited for everything to start to get back to normal before doing anything really.
yeah. Well, I just found out that you ride motorcycles, and I did not know that about you at all.
Yes, I
You
enjoy
ride?
riding. Yep. Harley Davidson, that's my motorcycle of choice. And so now, as some people know, some people might know, I live in California now. I moved out of Connecticut in October. So now I get to ride year round in the nice weather. I don't have to worry about snow, shoveling snow, none of that stuff. And that is something I do enjoy, other than music, probably because I don't like many other things, but those two things I enjoy a lot.
Yeah. I saw you were at a Terror show recently. I almost went to that show, and I
Oh,
backed out,
yeah?
but I almost was going to go to the LA Terror shows, and I just.
Terror, Terror is great. Got it right here if you can see. I don't know where my video's picking up or not, but
Oh yeah, we can see it. Yeah, if you flash us a little bit
there
higher.
you go. Perfect. There you go. Right there. My guys. Love them too. All
That's
the members, current, past, they're all great.
yeah. How is that show?
That was good. That was another one. It was insane. I think the one you're talking about was in Berkeley, right? You were in California?
Yeah, there
That
were
one?
shows I was looking at going to.
Yeah, that one. It was good. It's, Scott, he's a maniac. People stage diving the whole night, singing along, having a good time. Always good time at the Terror show.
Yeah, I saw a super funny video of that show. Um, it was like dog pile, dog pile, dog pile, dog pile, and then Scott for like a few seconds while everyone was just like climbing all over each other, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's how it was always like for us back in the '90s. It's like now I don't know. That's rough. I might break a hip or something. So I don't know. He's still doing it though. He's going. Hopefully, I guess we'll see it in Philadelphia. We make it out of there alive.
There you go. Yeah, it's. Are you? Do you know if you guys are y'all gonna barricade or not barricade?
Uh,
Oh, that's a
I
iffy.
actually don't know. I don't want to say. They usually don't have one, so I would assume not. But I don't know. I don't get into that part. I just show up and I play. So if there's a barricade there, there is. There's not. There's not. But
Yeah.
for some reason, I would think there won't be at that one.
Well, I remember seeing you guys. I was listening to Jamie's podcast, and he announced the Rocks Off cruise. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, my friend was like wanting me to come to New York anyways, and I was like, okay, I will. Let's go to this. And I remember getting trapped immediately. Like,
That was insane. We're on a ferry boat around New York City. Like, did it go around or near the Statue of Liberty or sailing around it or something? And so we're trying to play in this little tiny floor, just no stage or anything, just a floor, like people falling on top of us. And as you know, I'm not the tallest guy, so I'm like, probably couldn't even see me standing there. I have these big bouncers holding onto the pole in front of me, like making sure people weren't like completely smashing into me. So that was insane. That was a fun time though. I would do that again. That's cool.
Patrick just said, "Hey, what's up from Fit for an
There
Autopsy?"
he is. What's going on, man? I see a
Love.
lot of people. I don't want to. There's too many people. I don't want to respond to everyone. There'll be no interview. I think
Well,
I did that last time. I just kept being like, "Oh, hey, look who's here! Oh, hey."
oh well, last time we did this, we had Ozfest join in.
Yes, we did. You never know who's going to show up.
Well, and I was thinking about that, like, and I think I've continued to think about it, like, a little bit here and there, because Ozfest isn't active. So, like, who was on that Instagram account? Was it Sharon? Was it Ozzy?
You never know. The mystery.
I don't know. That was always, I like to gleefully think about that every
I
now and
wish that would come back. That was the fun tour, the summer U.S. tour. To be on, Ozfest was like insane. That was great memories on that. So they should definitely bring that back.
Did you guys play Ozfest 2010 where they did like Hell Yeah played it and they had a dime
No,
tribute?
we did Mayhem Fest 2010.
Okay,
Ozfest, I don't think we did that one.
gotcha.
Because now after that there was like random just shows. It was like a one-off Ozfest. It wasn't like a full tour after a certain year. I don't remember when it was, 2008 maybe, something like that. So we've done random Ozfests here and there, but the full tour, I don't remember 2010 doing that one, if there
Gotcha.
was one then. Definitely Mayhem Fest, which was kind of like Ozfest. To me, it's like the continuation kind of. It kind of took the place of Ozfest, which was cool. It was, a bunch of metal bands, main stage, too, always good, cool, fun. So, but that's not here anymore either. So they should bring something back.
There you go. Well, Metallica played that show, and I
Okay.
a Metallica show recently, right?
Yep. Uh, I saw them at the Chase Center in San Francisco. It was like they just opened it up brand new, where the Warriors, played basketball team, and that was incredible. I saw them twice there because they did one with the symphony, like the S&M Part Two, which is incredible because I remember, I've watched the VHS tape millions of times, so to be there for the second one was incredible. And then they just played recently again, so yeah, great.
Yeah. Incredible, incredible memories. Definitely makes your little metal heart happy, for sure.
Yeah.
So, funny question. I was watching another podcast and they brought up your black hats, and I never really noticed your black hats. Is it Harley Davidson?
This one is, yeah. Depends though. Today it is. Been
Okay.
rocking those lately.
What
Could
other
be
black?
New York Giants,
Okay.
Yankees. I have some other random ones.
Got it.
Yeah, this is what we got today.
There you go. I've heard you have a massively big black t-shirt collection that is, you just have like metal or not metal, metal. You just have like big tubs of black t-shirts. Like, what are
I have
your favorite?
starting from a little kid. I think I have almost all of my shirts that I've ever owned, and I have about probably over 750 now. Metal, all the metal shirts I had in the 80s, all the hardcore ones from the 90s. And apparently, a lot of them are worth money because I see, stuff going up. My man Frank from The World We Knew does this like Instagram thing where he sells, people like bid on shirts and stuff. It's worth a lot of money. It's insane. So yeah, my favorite ones though, I mean, probably the ones like I got at the concerts were like I still got a Kiss Lick It Up one from the concert, and Judas Priest from Defenders of the Faith, and then my first Metallica ones from And Justice for All, where they played in Hartford, Connecticut on my birthday, March 17th. And there's actually a VHS tape floating around on that. Probably YouTube now. I guess no one even probably knows what a VHS tape, half the people on here. But yeah, those are some of my favorites.
Well, I'm so sorry I didn't set this up in advance. We need to see.
Plus my ton of hardcore shirts from the 90s. I mean, I got, Earth Crisis, Cold as Life, ton. Too many. Agnostic Front. But
Wow.
yeah, too many to mention.
Okay, well, next time if we ever do this again, I want to see.
Maybe I'll bring like a sample, a few out or something, and show them.
That would be awesome. That would be really cool. What are some of the posters you have behind you? Those are really
These
cool.
these are a lot of Hatebreed flyers and other hardcore flyers going back from the 90s, a lot of them. This one was a poster from a compilation my old band Youthful Offenders was on, with Force Reality and Dropkick Murphys, which is really cool. And just old flyers from old shows. That's new, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I see, you can see over here. Yeah, and up high.
Those are awesome.
A little decoration here.
I know.
Kinda,
I've been debating if I need to like go rock and roll. Like I just put Renaissance art behind me, but I've been debating if I need to be like more album art or more this or more that or whatever. But yeah, I like.
whatever you like. It's all up to you.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thanks for that reassurance. I appreciate it. So, what's your favorite Hatebreed t-shirt design or merch design?
Hatebreed t-shirt design. That's a tough one. There was a cool one that had all of us on it. Like, I think it was on the back. So, I mean, that's always cool. Like, us, the band members.
Ah,
That's cool.
yes, yeah.
Us, like photos of us. I was like, oh, there you go. That's us on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But, well, mostly the skull. I mean, you can't go wrong with the traditional skull and maces design. Those are always good.
Love those. Well, I have my Perseverance t-shirt that I've cut it up 78 different ways and I still wear it and it's still my go-to.
That's cool.
It's
actually there is one, because there was another thing I forgot. During the pandemic, or right before the pandemic, they started doing these things where you release streaming only songs and it doesn't even go on the album. So we released a song called When the Blade Drops. I don't know, I don't even know if you heard it, but it's like streaming. So we had a t-shirt, a whole design for that. It's like a guillotine coming down, and that's a cool t-shirt. But it's like that song, it's just weird. It's just kind of like just went into the atmosphere because it's not on the album or anything. It'd be cool if we could put like maybe some kind of, single, like physical, maybe some kind of colored vinyl with some bonus tracks or something. But because I think it's a good song that just kind of got forgotten about. So if you're listening or watching, go check out When the Blade Drops if you haven't heard it. It's a good one. Standalone single, streaming only.
I don't think I did it to you, but when I saw you guys at So What, first thing I saw you guys, hung out with you guys, went straight to the bar, got a little too, I didn't get tipsy at all. Like I was
It's all right. We don't mind that. That's fine. Have a good time. Live your life.
Well, like I don't do anything weird when I'm drunk, but like, have I heard, When the Blade Drops? I got really drunk at the show, and when you guys all got off stage, I don't think I did it to you, but I was telling Jamie how you guys were my favorite band. I was hanging out with Matt. I was telling Chris how much you guys were my favorite band. Ha.
Well, that's good. Who doesn't want to hear that?
There you go. Yeah. Well,
Drunk or not drunk. Perfect.
To me, it was silly. Like the next day I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I got drunk last night. And I was like, all I did was tell them that they're my favorite band. When?
Oh, believe me, if anyone can't say anything about being drunk and saying dumb things or whatever, that's me. So I'm the worst. So you don't ever have to worry about being drunk in front of me and saying something wrong or whatever, because I'm sure I've done it all myself and still doing it to this day, probably.
You're great. No, you're great. You're fun. Yeah. I was happy. I was like, oh my God, I got drunk. That's all I did. All I did was say, oh my God, you're my favorite band. It's fine. But that plagued me. I did that on Drowning Pool's bus. Like I've been friends with them since I was 16. And I don't typically get that drunk, but I had kind of like a panic attack right before I went to go hang out with them at one of their shows. So I just got drunk at their show. And I didn't remember anything. And for like 8 months, I was just like, I felt weird like when I was around them. And then one day I finally asked, I was like, of course I was drinking with them again, like a year and a half later. And I was like, last time I saw you guys, blah, blah, did I do anything weird? And they were like, no, you just like got up, left and walked out. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh yeah, I've definitely. Actually, the first time I met Zach Wild, I'm like wasted, is in Worcester, Mass at the Palladium. And like, I'm up on the bus with, I think it was John from Shadows Fall and Anthrax. And we're up there. And I'm just like, Zach's like sitting at the table and his security Phil is like sitting down. And I'm like, yeah, I saw you back in this, No Rest for the Wicked tour. And I was there. I guess I was saying this. And I guess he just was like, yeah, I was there too. And then like the security's like, okay. It's like, okay, Hatebreed. Like, so then I'm like, so now there's like a joke every time I see his security guy. He's like, I was there. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, that's my drunken Zach Wild story. One of the first times I was talking to him.
That's really funny. That's really great.
And then we ended up going on tour with him like maybe a year or something later. And it's great. And we're going back on tour with them. So
I know.
That's gonna be good.
See you soon. Hey. That's gonna be an incredible tour. Like John.
Oh yeah.
Max will be there. Love him. Black Label, love them. Love you guys. Like I'm
Oh
telling
yeah, that's like a dream come true. Actually, that's funny because the time I saw Ozzy back in, it was like the Norris for the Wicked tour, and uh, Anthrax opened up. So it's like full circle. The first time I ever saw Ozzy or Anthrax, they were together. It was Ozzy's 40th birthday. So that's how crazy it was. I remember thinking like, oh man, he's 40, he's pretty old. But now I'm like, damn, I'm older than he was back then.
wow.
But so now we're getting to tour with both of them because that's when Zach first, you know, went with on tour with Ozzy and joined the band. So this is incredible, like a dream come true for that tour to come up.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm really good friends. Oh, you know Steven Murillo. You know
Oh
him.
yeah, of course. Yep.
Yeah,
Rock Tech.
yeah, he's one of my good friends. So thankfully to him, I've seen Ozzy because he was out with, Zach, who was out with
Yeah,
Ozzy.
yeah.
Incredible. It was,
Nice.
yeah, happy times, happy times. That's so funny. Yeah, good tour stories. But yeah, I'm so excited about that tour. I'm telling my Uber driver about it. I'm just telling people everywhere. There was I don't know how my Uber driver knew I was into metal, but he did. And I just had the biggest headache. And he was like, "Oh, you like metal?" And was just started blasting it at 10 a.m. And I was like, "Oh,
Nice. I like that. Got to deal. You got to push through sometimes.
if
Take
I'm
Tylenol.
heavy metal." That's funny. Yeah, well, that's a very fun tour. So I can't wait for that one. So what were early Hatebreed influences? I know Josta kind of like put it all together and it was his kind of baby. I heard a story that like the first show he didn't even really have lyrics. He made them up on stage. But like
Yeah.
where where you guys seeing
um,
what
both basically like it was always a combination of hardcore metal because sometimes people are like, oh, you're too metal now or whatever, but it was always that influence from both sides. It might have been a little more simpler then because we just have progressed and better players and all that stuff, but it was always like the old stuff, Agnostic Front, Cro-Mags, Warzone, and then like even like Earth Crisis, Marauder, but then also like Sepultura, Biohazard, and then Obituary, Carcass, Entombed. So basically, the band was put together on all that stuff, and it started out a little more shorter, hardcore songs. Some of them like a minute and a half. But those were always the influences going back to when the band started.
that's
Just
awesome.
evolved a little now, and now we have solos after I joined the band, which some people probably don't like, but some people love it. So you can't do the same boring thing for every album. So you got to change it up a little bit here and there.
It sets me off. I think it gives your songs like the extra like
Yeah, they're just
feeling
little ones here and there. Nothing too crazy. It's not like we're doing Well, actually we did do one instrumental song, so I don't want to say that, which is on the self-titled, which is completely different. But that was just cool, just to experiment. Check out Undiminished if you are into that kind of stuff. There's the only Hatebreed real instrumental, I guess you could say. It's on the self-titled album, 2009. But basically, it's still the same formula, fast parts, breakdowns, maybe some metal little parts here.
well, it's the feeling that I get when I listen to your music is like nothing else. There's nothing like it's heavier that just I need that in my
The
life and
energy.
that
It's,
outlet.
it's all about the energy. And then you put Jamie's positive lyrics, makes it even better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 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 So before you and Frank were ever in a band together, I was talking to him a little bit and I was like, "Do you have something to add to this conversation?" And he was like, "Boy, do I."
Oh, man. Can only imagine.
Right? I know. So you guys were both in a Warzone tribute band competition, right? How was that and who
Not
won?
quite. No, it wasn't a competition. It was actually my old band, Youthful Offenders, and his old band. I think it was he's been in a lot of bands too. Pit Boss 2000, maybe. We
Mhm.
both did a Warzone cover on a compilation CD. It wasn't an actual battle. It was We did a song on a compilation CD.
Okay, well that's funny.
Yeah.
His message to me said COMP dot, like he was abbreviating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another message, I was like, is that competition? And he never responded, so I just said thumbs up.
Compilation. Close, but no, there wasn't any actual competition. It was just we both were in our band, like we didn't even know each other at the time. I was actually looking. I think I found the CD, and I was like, "Oh, look at this! We're both of our bands were on this CD, and didn't even know each other at the time."
That's funny. Well, actually, I kind of had that with you guys a little bit. So I got to know you guys all like later on. And I was going through my big box of photos that I got out of my mom's garage. And I found photos of like me and you, me and Chris, me and Jamie, me and Frank from like 10 years ago.
Wow,
And,
it's been that long.
oh, yeah. Well, and it was way before I was really very seriously into Hatebreed and what you guys do. And I was still more rock than metal.
Yep.
Yeah, I would definitely say it was definitely more like rock than metal. I liked it, but it just like wasn't ingrained in me as a person of like what I like and who I am as a person and the things I really love in music. And I found these photos of me where I was posing with you guys, and I was like, oh my God, I was a child in these photos. Look at these. So
You'll have
funny.
to show me next time. Next
Yeah,
time I see you.
yeah, it was in Deep Ellum in Dallas. So they're just the funniest photos I've ever seen in my entire life. So how did you and Jamie and everyone all meet? How'd you guys form the band?
Well, actually, we all knew each other just from going to shows
Mm-hmm.
back, hardcore shows. Like I said, it would be the same people every weekend. So Jamie was in a band called Joss the 14, and Chris and Dave Russo, the original drummer, were in a band called Frostbite. And actually, Lou Boulder, who also was in Hatebreed, who passed away, he was also in Frostbite. So we all just knew each other from that. And then I think Jamie, something happened. He wasn't in Joss the 14 anymore. Frostbite maybe disbanded. So then I think it was mostly Jamie trying to get the band together, but he got together with Dave Russo, the drummer, in his basement in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where the band started, and just a bunch of people trying out, and then finally got the band together. And actually, the first show was they played like 3 songs as a 4-piece. It was Larry, Dave, Beatty, and Jamie. And they opened up for Earth Crisis at this place in Bristol called Connecticut Bike Exchange. Sometimes we would just call it the skate park. It was literally played on like a half pipe and ramps while people were skating on ramps and stuff. But the band was still kind of I think they played like 3 or 4 songs maybe, and I was at the show, and people went nuts. Like nobody even heard the songs before. So then I knew I was good friends with the drummer. I'm like, hey, I see you only got 1 guitar player. He's like, yeah, we're gonna get another one. You should come down, audition or whatever. I'm like, all right. So I came down. He gave me like a few songs, like just the music of a few songs on a tape. I learned them, went and rehearsed with them, and then that was it. Joined after that, and then played from the second show on for this. So that was like the first. That was the first lineup that was on Under the Knife, and that was the first year, like late '94 to late '95, and then members started kind of changing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we already know each other just from the
Yeah,
hardcore scene.
I'm obsessed with the hustle of hardcore. Kind of paint a picture what all of that was like.
Well, definitely, I thought Jamie, you got to give him his props because he was hustling a lot back then. He was booking shows, he was selling demo tapes at the show of other bands and stuff like that. And then basically he got the shows. So we would just play. It was just for fun though back then. Like I never thought of it as a career or a job. We just played hardcore shows on the weekends basically for fun. So that's why I left the band because they wanted to tour and stuff. I'm like, I was actually in college and worked at the mall at JCPenney. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to quit my job at JCPenney to go play shows for free for fun. But obviously we know the band kept going
Mm-hmm.
and, they hustled hard to get it to where it went. But it was really just fun. We did it all for fun back then. It wasn't even a thought in most people's minds, I think, that anything was really going to happen. Yep. Tune in. My man right there, New Haven. That's That's the name of the club that we used to hang out at all the time.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, New Haven. That was a good spot back in the '90s. That was probably one of the best spots for hardcore shows and even metal shows too. A lot of good shows there.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, that was it. Yes, Christine remembers me working at JCPenney. Yes, now I'm seeing the comments. Who also went to college with me at UNH, University of New Haven.
Wow, that's awesome. So it's kind of funny to think about. I would make the argument that Hatebreed is more successful than JCPenney's.
Yeah, it's more fun, that's for sure. Even it pays more too,
Fun, I'm choosy.
unless you're the owner, I guess. WNHU, that's right. Thank you, Christine. I was also a DJ on my college radio station, 88.7 WNHU, and used to play hardcore. I got to play hardcore songs on the local bands and metal. And I used to get into the tune in for free because I used to announce their concert dates over the air. So that was another trip down memory lane.
Hey, perks. It's all about perks.
All about perks.
Well, if you were doing any kind of announcing, especially like college radio, what music and what bands were you really passionate about at that time? Because
Yeah.
I'm sure
In
you
the
had.
90s, yeah, that was everything from like Pantera, Sepultura, Slayer, Exodus, all like the thrash stuff. But then there's a lot, like I said, the hardcore bands at that time were like Marauder, Earth Crisis, Snapcase, Strife. God, there's so many. I can't even remember now. Higher Force, Pete, tons of bands like that. A lot of people that probably wouldn't know about if because they're kind of more underground. So it's cool that I got a chance to play them on the air. Dismay was another band back then. A lot of Connecticut bands. That's another thing. There was like probably 100 bands in Connecticut that like were playing shows, and Hatebreed just happened to be the one that kind of like kept going. That's why it's still baffling, amazing to me that even happened. But it's cool and obviously great, good for me too. But
Good.
yeah, it wasn't expected. I don't think by a lot of people.
Yeah. Well,
Perseverance, dedication.
absolutely. Well, I'm glad you guys made it. Y'all are a big part of my life. So I'm
And
glad
still going. It's cool that actually there are people that still like the new stuff, and we're not just like some nostalgia band that we're only playing like old stuff, and they don't even care about the new stuff. They still like the new stuff. Which what is it? Looking Down the Barrel is like the #1 stream song on Spotify and stuff. So it's great that we could still keep going with even new music and the old music because we still play the old stuff. It's not like we abandoned it or anything. If we do a headline show, usually we play a couple songs off every album. So I'm still glad it's still going and people are still into it. So as long as you keep coming to shows, I'll keep playing.
Absolutely. Well, that's the opening lyrics to Looking Down the Barrel. I'm in a new group of friends, and they think I'm the cutest and the sweetest and the funniest thing in the entire world, that I like metal and hardcore. And I'm kind of like, the person they're like, hey, look over here. She loves metal. She loves hardcore. Listen to her. And I'll talk about Hatebreed. And I'm like, well, listen here. The music is heavier than anything you've ever heard in your life before, but it's the most positive. And that song, the opening of that song is like what I reference. And I just say those lyrics to them. And they're like, wow, that's great.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. So I'm doing what I can. Hey. Okay. So let's talk the earliest albums before we get to the new record. Not One Truth off of Under the Knife is my favorite track off of the album. What's yours?
Actually, let me clarify that to get the correct information because people know me. I like to get the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
that was comment.
So the demo has Not One Truth, Severed, and Puritan on it. That's the demo. Then Under the Knife is a separate recording with Smash Your Enemies, Filth, Kill an Addict, and Under the Knife. So those are two separate things. One was their tapes and 7 inches. When they put the CD out, they combined the two. So technically that's not really Under the Knife. So just wanted to clarify that little part. But
That's
yes, if you're going by the full CD with the bonus demo on it, Not One Truth is one of my favorites, and Smash Your Enemies. Not
and
One
I
Truth was the first one I think that I had to learn when I joined the band. So we've been playing that since day one.
yeah. Well, and I really like Puritan as well.
That's a good one too. Yep, that's from the demo.
Yeah, that's how you know I'm really just really into all this music. If you like Puritan,
Yes. See,
that
that's heavy. That definitely, to me, that song has a very metal feel to it. Slow, it's tuned down, and it feels that's metal. It's simple. It's not like fancy or technical, but that's definitely if you compare it to like old style hardcore. So going back, metal and hardcore combined since day one. And we
yes.
played shows with both bands too, because we played shows like with Earth Crisis, and then the second show was with Madball, and I think it was Crown of Thorns, and then we played like maybe a week later with like Grave and Incantation, and we played with Machine Head. So we've been doing metal and hardcore shows since the beginning too.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of just answered my next question. What was it like when Hatebreed took off? Because I know you quit the band and then they took off.
It
So what?
was, I mean, it was cool. I thought it was cool of them, and then obviously I started seeing them in magazines and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, that could have been me, So it was like I wanted to be in a band and stuff like that, but I was like, oh, whatever, good for them was cool. I never expected to be back in the band. It just kind of worked out that way. Actually, I don't even know if you probably do, but in 2006 I came back as the guitar tech. Did you know that before I joined?
I did a bunch of research, so I listened to it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I tell the story a few times. And you had a small toolbox instead of a real big one.
This is true. I found it. I don't know if I kept it or not, but I just saw it like the other day. It had like this little tiny plastic thing with like a silver Sharpie. It says Hatebreed on it. But so yeah, 2006. Because Beatty, I was, best friends with him. One of my best friends forever. So one day he was just like, I need a new tech, this and that, and I was like, I'll do it. I'll change your strings, plug in your amps, and tour the world and get paid for it. He's like, all right. And they asked the other guys. They said, yeah. So then I came back, and literally my first tour teching was Ozfest 2006 main stage. So it was like, all right, here you go, done. And then so ever since then, I teched for a few different bands. And then 2009, they said Sean was quitting. Asked me if I wanted to come back, and then came back.
Were you
And
scared?
that was it. It was a little nerve wracking, yeah, because I didn't know what I was doing. Like, yeah, I knew how to play and set up my own amp, but I never did that in my life. Like, there's so much, and you got to be on a time limit. Like, it was quick. Stage managers yelling at you to get your stuff off, get it on, and it was rough, but I made it through. And then I kind of got into the swing of things towards the end, and ended up doing all right. But yeah, that was crazy.
That's a
Fun
very
though, a lot of fun.
that's a very funny story, by the way.
Yeah.
That's very funny. That's super funny. What's the best compliment you've ever gotten from a fan?
The best compliment. I mean, it's got to be, when people say like, we saved their lives and stuff like that. I mean, you can't ever, what's better than that, which just to play music and to know that we have that kind of effect on people is always feels good. And to know that, whatever haters are out there that don't like something that we do or whatever, it doesn't matter. We don't care if you don't like us, don't listen or whatever, but there's plenty of people that like us and really appreciate us from just all aspects like that. And yeah, that's definitely the best compliment you could get.
Absolutely. And I think the pandemic is the hardest thing we've all ever been through psychologically. And
Yeah,
just much of your music applies to just overcoming the demons in our heads.
especially me. I mean, that's like, I love music. I love still go to live music. I'll go to the local bar and go see a dive band. Dive bar and go see a local band. You know what I mean? Or
I,
go wherever to huge concerts, festivals. I love seeing live music. So when that was shut down, that was rough. That wasn't so. I'm just glad it's coming back, and hopefully it stays this way.
Absolutely. Well, you switched your words. I remember when I was talking to Kat and I was like, God, just Hatebreed, like they just put out this new album, right? And I was just listening to this song that was put out in 2014 and it was like 2021. I was like, God, this song, oh my God, like Own Your World.
Oh yeah. That's all right. You're trying. At least at least it was our song and not some other band. You might not have the right album, but that's all right.
It was so funny because y'all have so many albums and it was just like
Yeah.
Spotify popped up and I heard the song and I never heard it before and I was like, I love this new song. This song is like,
Well, it's
oh
new to you, so that's all that matters.
yeah. And I did like a little real TikTok video of y'all's last performance and I used that song. So it made me happy.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the most intense thing you've ever seen happen in a Hatebreed pit?
Probably like someone getting their nose busted open, which, like I said, we don't condone any fighting, but there have been a lot of fights back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably that lot of injuries, sometimes intentional, unfortunately, not just mosh pit injuries. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to go with that one.
Got it. My favorite riff, I was going through the catalog of Hatebreed songs that I listened to, and I heard something that definitely came from you. And my favorite riff, I think, from a Hatebreed song is from the Die Hard as They Come song.
That's actually Supremacy. That was Sean. That was Sean playing that.
Aw.
That's okay though. That's a good song. I like that song too. It's fun. That's a good riff.
Well, that's mean, but
That's all right. Hey, like I said, they had a great. Every album is great, and they made it. I'm glad I'm here now. That's fine. It's all good to me.
I'm glad we're friends and I can just laugh. Moving on.
We might have done a live version of it that I'm playing on record. That's possible, but
Yeah.
he's on the actual original recording.
Yeah. No, I've seen you guys do that song.
Oh
So
yeah,
I've seen you perform it. So,
yes, definitely. I've many times,
yeah,
hundreds.
a bunch of times. What's your favorite riff that you wrote?
Well, mostly, believe it or not, Jamie and Chris write most of the music. So we get together. It's mostly their ideas. Like we actually now we just get in the studio like pre-production, and we'll like Jamie will kind of sometimes he'll play like a little bit. Like he's not like I wouldn't say he's a guitar player, but he can play enough to like as a tool and write stuff. So he'll like kind of show me his ideas, and BD will bring his and stuff like that. So it's mostly them, but I did write a couple riffs on the last album. I write all the guitar solos, but so listen to the Herd Will Scatter, the intro and the verse riff. That would be my favorite. So you gotta listen to those, and they're definitely more on the metal side, but as we would say.
Good.
So those, yeah, check those out.
Okay. Well, can I change my answer and say that's my favorite now?
Yes, and also our original drummer Dave Russo is in the chat room.
Oh,
Dr. Hoof. He missed if he's just joined us, he missed all the good stuff I said about him in the early part of it. He'll have to go rewatch it or something.
yeah.
Or we could just say more. He's great. We've
He's
actually been in a lot of bands together after Hatebreed too. But just, local kind of stuff. Some didn't even make it out of the rehearsal room.
yeah. Well, I feel blessed. Like we were talking about this last time I saw you, like I got to see Niagara and I thought that was like such a cool, like local thing in hardcore. And I thought that was really special for someone who's like just now getting into that and just the history up north. Like that meant a lot to me. So it sounds like there's a lot of history there too.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, when I'm watching a band play, I always kind of want to know what they're thinking when they're playing. Like what songs set you off that you play?
Actually, me, most of the time, I'm just trying to make sure I'm playing all the right notes. I'm like, I make sure I'm doing this. I can hear everything. I'm playing right. because I don't know, I think too much sometimes, but that's like mostly what's going on in my head. And if the crowd is really into it, then it's like, okay, they like this one, so this is good. So mostly it's all like, I don't want to say it's all business because it's fun, but it is business. You don't want to screw up. So I'm thinking mostly like, all right, all right. I got this one. This is good. That's what's going through my head.
That is such a funny thing to hear you say because you're a technically beautiful player. You're an
I
incredible,
thank you. I appreciate that. But
yeah,
still, you don't want to get yelled at by your other band members because sometimes they'll give you a look or something. So try to avoid that.
especially
But
when
no, it's all
ah,
it's all good though. Thankfully we all get along. That's a good thing about being in a band. If you don't get along with the other members, it's a nightmare. Like I would imagine, because you
yeah,
could just when you're just looking at the person next to you, like I mean we get in a little arguments here and there, but like it's like a family. You live together on a bus, you and the crew for months at a time. But we all thankfully get along and have a good time together.
yeah. Well, it's so funny that you guys are like some of the heaviest music that I like and some of the nicest people. So y'all are such great people. I love it so much. So let's talk your gear because I don't play anything. So I'm of no use here, but I don't want to leave those people out that do. So
Gotcha.
for all the gearheads, what gear do you use? What tuning and what advice can you give to the guitar players out there who are trying to nail your riffs on YouTube and they're messing them up?
Well, I play Gibson, mostly Gibson Les Pauls with EMG pickups, and EMG pickups are great, and they're literally right in Santa Rosa, California, not too far from here. Got to shout out my boy Tommy, who is my rep from there. So EMG pickups, Les Paul, SIT strings. We tune down to C, and we tune down to standard C, not drop C, which people get wrong, but I mean, you could still play it like that if you want. If it sounds the same, it sounds the same, whatever. But we do standard C tuning, which I believe is C, F, A sharp, D sharp, G, C. And then we have some songs in standard B tuning, which is B, E, A, D, F sharp, B. So they're all played. If you're a guitarist, it's like regular chords, not the like one finger chord that most people play our songs. It's a little easier that way, but if it play how you want, but that's how we play the songs. And then YouTube is great because you could practically learn how to play guitar. I wish they had that when I was a kid. I could have just watched YouTube videos and learned all day. There's so much good information out there. I mean, sometimes people play our songs a little wrong, but still, it's like there's a lot of information on there. So that's what I would say. Just watch YouTube and learn from there. You'll be a pro before you know it.
There you go.
And Marshall amps. I use JCM 2000 TSL 100s, and not much. I don't really use too many pedals. A little bit of like delay and reverb for the solos, and then like I have a couple overdrive pedals I use on the album. I use like a tube screamer for the rhythms, but live just basically just for the solos. So it's just straight into the amp, and you need some kind of a good noise gate, like noise suppressor. I use the MXR Smart Gate. I'm also trying out this new one from Rev Amps, so we'll see how it is. I'll get back to you on that one, and then or Boss noise suppressor you could try, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. How often do you practice?
Not very often. I should practice more because we've played so before COVID we've toured so much, we've played so much. It's like you're playing almost every day, so it's like really I only do like a really like intense rehearsing when we're doing like a new song like that we haven't played like before, or if we haven't gone on tour in a while and we got to like kind of rehash the old stuff. But other than that, I haven't really practiced as much as I used to. When I was younger, I practiced all the time. But now, like I said, when it becomes your job and you're doing it months and months and months, every once in a while I'll pick up the guitar and jam on it, but not too much. Mostly just play live.
Well, you mentioned Zeus earlier, and he's become a good friend of mine. What do you think it is about Zeus and the way that he works that creates such incredible music?
I don't know. He's been around for a while, and he just knows how to make us sound good and a lot of other bands that he does. But we're also good friends, Like, we text each other all the time when he's in town, or when I used to live in Connecticut, he'd come down, we'd go to the bar, even if he was like working for someone else. And then when we would do like a session, we'd go hit the bar after, have a couple drinks, And so he's a good friend. He's really easy to work with. He knows how to get the good sound out of my guitars, because sometimes when you have a Les Paul, tuning them that low, that's hard to get them to stay in tune. So we got to like play slightly different on the recording, or it's going to, you hear every little thing these days. It's got to be perfect. But it's worked so far. So I love working with him.
That's awesome. And I know you guys are really good friends, and y'all hit the bars and y'all enjoy that aspect of it as well.
Yep.
I wanted to know, because you and I like to drink together. We have fun. So like, you're my like party friend. I know like I can have a drink with you. To be
This is
fun
true.
a minute, yeah, to be fun for a minute, like what are some of like your favorite memories of like tour parties, of like, oh my God, I was on this person's bus, I was blah blah.
The best parties are probably the Hatebreed bus, believe it or not. Back in the day, it's calmed down a little bit. But when Frank is at the helm, he will plug his iPod in, or whatever type of musical device we have at the moment. But normally he just has his old classic iPod, front lounge, plug it in, and he plays everything from Kiss, Blue Oyster Cult, all 80s. He'll play like the Depeche Mode, whatever. But then like just everything, and we just rage, and other bands will come on our bus to find where the party is. So that's always good. But it's nothing, you've seen the parties. I can't really give too many stories. I don't want to call anybody out, but they do get fun.
Is it still like that even though Jamie's sober?
Oh, he's been sober for a long time, since before I even came back to teching. So probably 2005. I don't want to give the wrong information, but something like that. So he'll just go in his bunk and be like, oh, these guys, put his earplugs in. Sometimes they'll hang out though, and but he just doesn't drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been like that. Yeah, definitely.
Fun. I love a good party, so I just wanted to ask. There you go. Can you still get Breed Brew?
I actually don't know much on that. We were doing it. I gotta look back into that, because I know they made a bunch, and then I think they maybe sold out. So we're still, I hope so, but we haven't done much with them. That was a good thing during the pandemic, because we had somewhere to go, and we had this little thing. We had a couple of get-togethers for some of the fans locally, and they tried out our beer, and they got some autographs or whatever, pictures and posters. So that was cool. But I actually haven't. I don't even know what's going on with it anymore. Hopefully. But I know it's cool. It tastes good too.
I know I never tried one, but I saw the cutest of you guys like actually making it.
You could try a Halftime Beverage. They have a website. If they have any left, I think you could order some. They ship them out to people. Or Witch Doctor Brewing is where it's actually brewed, in Southington, Connecticut. So if you're in the area, go stop by there. They might have some available there.
Cool. Awesome. And you guys just did a Dixon flannel partnership as well.
Yes, that was cool. We did Satisfaction one and Under the Knife, and maybe we'll be doing another one. I don't know. We shall see.
Shoulder, maybe. There you go. Just 2 questions left. If you had the chance to fill in for someone in any band, which one would you die to fill in for?
I'd have to say Metallica. If James ever breaks his wrist again, give me a call. I'm there, because I know he's done that in the past and had some fill-ins. That'd probably be the one.
There you go. If you had to choose one hardcore record to sum up your love for the genre entirely, or 3, if you can do 1 or you can do 3, which records are you choosing?
Well, I do like, let's see, I'd say Agnostic Front, Victim in Pain, Cro-Mag's Age of Quarrel, for like the classic kind of stuff, which I love those 2 albums. Those are classics. And then more of the metal style that we kind of, metal crossover, like say the first Biohazard.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a good three to get the classic hardcore, and then with the kind of crossover. And then if
Mm-hmm.
you want to get a little heavier, Marauder, Master Killer, that's a good one if you don't know that one.
Awesome. Cool. Great answer. Okay, so we haven't really taken fan questions yet. We're about to hop off. Does anyone in the chat want to ask Wayne some questions real quick? I see a bunch of hearts pop up, so I think some people do.
That's good. I like hearts are good.
Yeah, hearts. Did you see any funny questions earlier? I know I saw.
I don't know. We can you scroll down. Well, no, if they might not even be here.
Would be 5,000. Oh, hey, there's our friend.
There's Joe.
Hey, Joe. Love Joe. That's
Yes.
funny.
So if anyone has any questions, now is the time, because we didn't answer anyone's questions before. So if you still have the same question, feel free to ask.
I know. Am I a bad host?
No, that's okay. You still had to do the interview.
Yeah, there you go. Oh well, I think the questions are gone. Maybe they're gone. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to leave us with? Anything you want to say to all the Hatebreed fans out there?
Obviously, make sure we got Mike's in the house. Go to This Is Hardcore first and foremost in Philadelphia, July 9th. There are tickets still on sale. It's going to be good. Can I provide any insight on the Parkway Drive cancel tour? No, because I didn't even know it was getting canceled myself until maybe the day before you guys found out. I don't know. They said they needed some mental health break, and I guess they took the break because they're coming back. So other than that, I have no idea. Metallica, yes, that was a good one, Nick. Probably on my birthday, like I said, 1989. Injustice for All was good. And they also played in Bristol that same year at Lake Compounds, which was also good.
Hey, Neil's in here from Devil Driver. We love Neil. Oh, yeah. Someone actually asked earlier, and I meant to ask this earlier. Wainstead, what's that nickname about?
Oh, yeah. That's me when I get extremely drunk, and was given to me on the Ozfest 06 tour. I don't remember who gave it to me. There's debate. Could be Frank, could be Marta from Bleeding Through, could be a possibility, but they just all of a sudden just came up on, is Wainstead going to show up? And so that's when I'm really drunk. That's Wainstead.
Oh, there you go. That's happy.
Yeah, that's my alter ego. Want to hear some stories about Wayne as a kid? Who inspires you musically? Did you know there's this little question thing on there?
Actually, I did not.
All right, well, there you go. Well, Wainstead, yes, apparently sometimes, and then let's see, influences. My earliest influences as a guitar player were Randy Rhoads, Kirk Hammett, because those were the two, Ozzy and Metallica. That's what I practiced when I first started learning. And me as a kid, that was me as a kid. So there's those questions. We got them. I answered.
Also going to school dressed up like Kiss with the boots on.
Oh, yeah.
For chains.
This is true. When I was 5 years old for Halloween, I dressed up as Paul Stanley for Halloween. Paul Stanley from Kiss, and I had the chains on the boots and everything. I still have pictures of that. And then, yeah, that's the thing. Kiss was the band that started it all off. That was my first influence ever. So it went from there to everything else: Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Ozzy, all that, and then Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, Slayer, and then into the heavier stuff, hardcore, punk, all that stuff.
There you go. Well, we'll leave it on that. Can't wait to see you at Hardcore Fest, Wayne. Thank you for doing this interview with us. Thanks for popping in. That was incredible hardcore history. Awesome.
Get your tickets now.
Thank you, Wayne.
You're welcome.
Chat soon. See you soon at Hardcore Fest.